Hello, you guys, and welcome to today's episode of Single Mom Thriving. This episode I knew was going to be one I was excited to do mainly for other people because this is something I just navigated myself, and it was difficult. I didn't know how to navigate it the right way. I was very cautious about this involving my own child, and I've experienced it on both very opposite ends of the spectrum. So I'm going to share my experience and insight with all of it. And I want a disclaimer up front. This is not bashing anyone, slandering anyone. I'm not dogging anyone's choices. I'm going to share my personal experience with this. Everything I am going to talk about is factual. It is things that have actually happened, and I'm going to share my experience. This is the topic of introducing significant others to your children. And this one has been my first go with this as a single parent was horrible. It wasn't my significant other. It was on the other end. But my first experience with this, put the bar real low. Let's just put it that way. Introducing someone to your children is a huge deal. And again, I'm not going to shame anyone that has done things differently. I'm just going to share my experiences, my beliefs, the things I've discovered or, learned talking to mental health professionals, doing my own research, and what I think is best for my child. If you have done something differently, what you do with your own children is your business. I'm not here to say anyone's right or wrong. I'm just going to share the way I navigated it and the things I experienced in it and kind of like my thoughts and feelings on how it went. Again, I don't think this is something that should be taken lightly. For a lot of children, depending on the age, they might know more or be aware of more of what's going on involving a divorce, a separation, parents being single. If parents were never together, that's a whole nother thing to navigate. For my daughter personally, and this is something I think about often, a lot of people are like, how do you explain to a child that you're going to get divorced? My child will never remember us together. So for me, I'm actually going to have to do the opposite one day. I'm going to have to explain to her that we were together at one point and no longer are together. And that's going to be its own difficult thing to figure out. I hope you're enjoying this train in the background because I'm not going to stop recording because I've already recorded this 3 times so far. Anyways, I'm squirrel braining now, but I went into this, conversations were had about how this would go. I was very adamant that hey, I think we should wait at least 6 months before introducing anyone to our daughter. I wanted to know that whoever was around was a good person. I wanted to spend enough time with them to see them in all different situations, all different aspects of who they are before deciding if they were someone that was going to be in my child's life. I've shared this before, but when I was dating, I was considering every person as, could this be a potential stepfather figure to my daughter one day, or, a male role model in her life, because at this age, I'm not dating just for fun. It got to the point that I was dating, I want someone to be a part of our lives and to share my life with. So I went into it very, I need to look at everyone as, stepdaddy contender, essentially, which sounds a little crazy when you're dating, but for anyone with children, you get it. You can't just bring in someone off the streets around your kid. So again, I had this 6 months, we should do this, make sure it's someone that's going to be around, that you think is going to stay around, not just random people you're dating in and out. It was very important to me to set the example to my daughter, that I didn't want her to see men coming in and out of her mom's life. I don't think that's appropriate. I didn't want her to think that that's normal, and I always want to set an example for my daughter first and foremost. So I've shared it before, but my daughter has met no one while I was dating. She doesn't meet people. I don't put her around people. I would only date on days I did not have her for that reason, which prevented me from dating a lot of people, I'll be honest. But my child was always my priority. The first time around, Some people, people around me know kind of what happened. My child was introduced to someone very quickly within a few weeks of said person meeting other people. I strongly was against it. I was very upset. The original conversation of it should be 6 months turned into, well, that's unrealistic. Okay. It's not, because I just did it. Spoiler alert. But, yeah, basically the first time around, every wish, concern, crying phone call, I'm uncomfortable with this, I'm begging you not to do this, was just ignored. And I have spoke about this a little bit in my book. It wasn't supposed to be like this, but like there is no worse feeling than feeling hopeless as a mother. Like just wanting to go there and get her. Like I don't even know who she's around. My child was living with an entire family in my dream home that we were buying as our separation happened. That was extremely hard to not only not know the person that was already around my child, but to know my child was living with an entire family of 5 individuals that I had never met. Teenage boys that I had never met were sleeping under the same roof as my daughter when she could barely talk. And as you can imagine, I was literally losing my mind. I felt like I was going to go insane. Anytime she wasn't with me, I was crying. I was having meltdowns. Like I didn't know where she was. I didn't know who she was with. And that is the most uncomfortable feeling about your child. But we're not going to dig too deep into that. The first time around, horrible experience. Everything was ignored. It was very clear that as co-parents, we weren't going to co-parent on that decision as much as I wanted to, as much as I begged, pleaded, cried. It did not happen. And I was not okay with it. Lo and behold, I have now gone through this twice. Every time the things I have asked for are the things I've also offered. So like I wanted to meet or talk to the significant other before they met my child or before they were around my child, which I didn't think was too crazy of an ask. Would I love to meet them in person? Absolutely. Would I have settled for a phone call, a text, anything better than nothing? Fuck yeah, I would have. Anything, any ounce of respect would have been appreciated. And I have gone through it now twice, asking for those simple things to be respected as my child's mother, and it doesn't happen. And sometimes I just shake my head because it's like, oh, okay. I'm like, it's very frustrating when your wishes for your child's well-being and what's best for them are completely ignored and just completely disregarded. I'm not going to dive too deep into the opposite end, but just to let you guys know, that is what I have experienced. I've experienced being completely left out, not knowing what's going on ever. I said, hey, just keep me in the loop this time. I just want to know this time. Let's not do this again. I would like to at least talk to this person before they meet my child. I mean, you think about how crazy you are about where your kids go to school, who they're friends with, who they're spending time with. And then to turn around and not let the other parent know who is going to be spending time and or living with their child. It's giving hypocrisy. It's giving... It's not making sense. It's not lining up. It's just wild to me. But I have experienced that side of things. And, you know, my child still talks about people that are no longer around, still brings it up, still talks about the things that have happened that I could, that how dare someone else do this in front of my child when I worked so hard to not do these things in front of my child. Infuriating. I can say that, like, anyone that's a mother, excuse me, anyone that's another knows, if you've gone through this, how frustrating and disrespectful that can be. Now, I do want to say, I have been in a relationship for 6 months now, and so I just navigated this. We just did the introductions on my end, and I want to say what a beautiful and nice reminder it was that this can be a positive and healthy thing. I know I've just like dogged it in the first part of this episode, but what a wonderful reminder that this can be a happy, positive, and peaceful thing. I extended to my boyfriend's co-parent what I wanted with my child. And so I said, hey, I will meet her. I will talk to her, whatever makes her comfortable before I'm around her children, because I know how I felt and I never want to make another mother feel that way. I don't think it's appropriate. I don't think it's fair. And I don't want to go into this having that relationship with the other parent of your children when we are in a relationship. And so I will say I'm going to toot my own freaking horn here, but my boyfriend and I navigated this so well. I'm so proud of us. I really am. Like, okay, it's conceited, it's cocky, but like, I am so proud of the way we navigated this one. We waited 6 months. My daughter did not know this person existed. What his name was, nothing. Up until about a month ago, when we knew this was probably going to happen around 6 months, we eased in. And obviously, my daughter saw photos of me that I went on a trip with someone. It was my friend. He did whatever on his side the same way. And then we actually did like a group FaceTime call before anyone met with all the kids and us, just for that first initial meeting of actually seeing each other. There were drawings made for the other households. There were colors or paintings colored and on the fridge from each other's household. So we had this little bit of like easing into it, introducing ourselves, like, you know, really excited to meet you, all of that. And I can tell you guys, like I said, being so proud of us, I'm so glad we did it this way. My daughter has been like gradually eased into it. So have his children. We all have finally met. We've done things together. We've each now done like a one-on-one with just us and like my daughter, or us and his children. And I think this has just unfolded so beautifully. And I want to urge you guys to think about your kids. You know, between the two of us, here are all of these children that have just had to navigate divorce, you know, being with a single parent, going back and forth, maybe seeing other people in the parent dynamic, already dating other people. So there's a lot of things at play. And that was kind of what I always stuck to, was like, they've both, on both ends, they've already like seen so much going on that I was like, I feel like we just need to do this the right way. Like, we just need to ease into it, not too much at once. And you guys, I was bragging about it on my Instagram stories, but like, I didn't think it was possible. I already said this on my stories and I'm going to blush on here when I say it too, but like, I didn't think it was possible to love someone even more once I saw them as a parent and being a part of their family and their extended, like, not extended, but like immediate extended family. We did a whole Halloween thing with my boyfriend's family, and they really welcomed my daughter in like she was one of their grandchildren. And we did all these activities together. The whole family was just so welcoming and warm and kind. And it was like, I have had the complete opposite experience on this end. And it was almost strange for me when I was navigating it, because it was like, I am so used to drama and chaos and issues. And like, this went so smoothly and everyone was so kind and welcoming. We did exchange messages, myself and the co-parent of my boyfriend's children, before I met the girls. We have now seen each other in person, obviously, like, said hi, whatever. And I think that was so great that the kids were able to see that. Like, we said hi to each other, everybody was there. And like, you don't want your kids to have this underlying fear and guilt that they can't tell you things, because it's heartbreaking to watch a child, like you can see the stress and the anxiousness when they know that maybe they shouldn't be talking about this person on the other side because maybe they were told not to, or maybe they've realized that it's a touchy situation and they don't want to tell the other parent. So they're feeling like they need to hide things or act a certain way. Like, why put that on your children? Why would you ever want to put that kind of stress on your child who's already just navigating going through divorce and all these big changes and all these other things? I am so proud of the way we've done this. And it has been, again, like I said, such a great reminder that this doesn't have to be a negative thing. And I have tried so hard on the other side of my situation to make it not a negative thing. And it's just been like stonewalled and blocked. So I'm really, really enjoying seeing it on this side. People, just like having more people that care about your child, being civil, being respectful of each other, considering other people's, what they're comfortable with, like what's best for their children. Like, I can't even, it's like at first I was, like I said, so uncomfortable in it because I was like, wait a minute, we're all getting along and this is nice and our kids are here and like everyone's being nice to each other. Like, what is happening? I'm just not used to this. I'm used to the chaos. And I could say for the first time in my life, I'm really enjoying the peace and the more calm side of it and seeing like this doesn't have to be a horrible thing. This can be a positive thing where children get to experience a group of adults putting their children and their well-being first and what's best for them. And they're just getting bonus people that are going to care about them and love them. And there's no anxiousness. There's no secrecy. There's no feelings of being uncomfortable or your child sensing that something's wrong or hostility or negativity. And I don't think I'll ever have that, just judging off of what I've had so far. And that makes me really sad for myself and for my daughter. But I'm really hoping that at least seeing a healthy example on the other side will really show her how this can be and set a really great example for her, because your children are watching everything you do. They're soaking everything up like a sponge. Like, like if you think about when you were young, or like even when you're like who your parents were voting for, like what they believed in, what they liked. Like when you're a child and you don't know any better, you idolize your parents. They're your role models. The adult figures in your life, even if it's not just parents and other people, but like the adult figures in your life are your role models. You're setting the example. You're setting the tone. You're showing them what's right. You're molding them into who they're going to be. And I always try to consider, like, how can I fuck my child up the least? Because, like, now that I'm an adult, I can look back and see the things that have stuck with me, influenced me, affected the way I am in certain situations. And I am just doing my best every day to not pass that trauma on to my child. It's literally half the time I'm thinking, like, how can I fuck her up the least? We're already in this situation, so how do we damage control and do the least damage here? And so I will say, now that I've introduced, I can tell you guys leading into it, I was terrified. I was terrified. I was scared. Every time it would come up, I was like, I don't know. How do we do this? Like, I didn't know. I was just so uncomfortable because I hadn't done it yet. And I had waited so long and I hadn't introduced it to anyone that I feel like I had built it into this big thing that was carried so much meaning for me. Which in a way I'm glad, because again, I don't think it's something that should be taken lightly, the people that you bring into your child's life, because you don't want people coming in and out, in and out, in and out. That's unstable. You're just putting instability in your child's life, and that's not healthy, and that's not normal. Like, children need stability. They need routine. They need normalcy. They need home. They need a family. You know what I mean? Like, these are all the things I thought about when I was navigating how to introduce and when to introduce and how we were going to do this. And I can say, I've said it a million times already, but like, I'm so pleased with how it went. And I'm so happy and I'm proud of all of us involved in this little situation that we're doing this so well. And I think it shows with the children. They are so happy. Like, we've got this little group of kids. Like, they're all so happy, so excited. They're not uncomfortable telling me things about their mom. Like, they tell me things about, oh, my mom always used to make my dad blah, 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 blah. Watching a child feel comfortable enough with me to tell me about her mom and dad when they were together, knowing that I'm like the new person. Like, think about that. That child felt comfortable enough to tell me about memories of her parents to her dad's new girlfriend. Zero concern, zero worry. She wasn't nervous. She wasn't uncomfortable telling me. She didn't hesitate to tell me. She felt 100% safe. And that's another thing here, is like the safety. She felt safe telling me things about her mom and dad. I think that speaks volumes. That your child is comfortable enough to talk about, like, knowing that that's something that could be sensitive if we weren't in a good place. And she's old enough to understand that. And being comfortable enough knowing that we're all fine, and she can say things to me about that and tell me stories about her parents and her mom and not feel weird. I was like, damn, like, we did this right. We did this right. The fact that they can get out of a car and see me parking and are comfortable enough in front of their mom to see me and call my name and say hi to me and my daughter. Think about how little worry those children have about navigating the situation with the new person in their dad's life. And I think that's so beautiful. I think that's so wonderful. And I feel like my child doesn't completely have that on the other end, and it breaks my heart. It really does, because I always saw myself as being what's happening on my side, being able to be cordial, be friendly, be able to, in an ideal world, I would love to be able to meet, to have met significant others and be on a basis where I could send pictures, send me pictures of my kid when she's doing something cute. Laugh if she's doing something funny, send me a funny video of her. I would have loved that. That would have made me so happy. And that's how I always thought. I even thought to myself, like, one day, what if there are more children, like stepchildren, born into my child's life? Like, thinking to myself, like, you know what? I would be like, oh my God, let me hold the baby. Like, I would be that person. And I haven't been allowed to be, and I don't think I ever will be allowed to be, which is very sad. And I think the saddest part, again, is for my child, because she's seeing all of this and she's taking in all of this, and this isn't what I wanted it to feel like for her. And so I hope that on my end I'm doing enough to just show her a stable, healthy, positive situation. And I'm hoping that example is louder to her than others, and that's what she goes off of, and that's what she's able to take with her and feel comfortable and safe, and like she can talk to us about things and be with us, and it's not something that ever has to be hidden or feel weird or yucky. And again, like, I think what it really comes down to is putting our children first. And I talked to my therapist about that. I talked to everyone about this. I talked to my therapist. I talked to everybody. I talked to professionals. Like, I literally was like, what is appropriate? How do I do this right? I literally asked my therapist that question during my therapy session. Like, please teach me how to do this right for her. I researched things. I looked at studies online, which was thrown back in my face, and I was told I was, quote, AI parenting. Okay. But beyond the point, like, I did my own research and wanted to learn, like, what is best for my child. Period. Like, I put what was best for my child first. And again, I'm proud. I'm happy. I love the way it's going. And in my own relationship, I'm feeling so lucky and blessed that her and I have found this, because this is what I always wanted. And even my boyfriend's family welcoming us in and doing Halloween with them and stuff, like, I sat there at one point and was just like, wow, this is what I always wanted. like in my life, and it's just really nice to have it, and it's unfortunate what it took to get here to have it, but if that's what had to happen, it was worth it, even though it was horrible. And this is how we got here, but like, I think it was all worth it. So you guys, I'm going to leave you on this note because I could ramble about this forever, but like, introducing significant others can be such a positive, healthy thing. And I pray for all of you that you get to experience that way because, like I said, I've had both ways at this point, and I see how wonderful it can be now and how great it can be. And I hope everyone gets to experience that. And I hope that, you know, maybe you consider that when you decide to introduce your child or vice versa or whatever, you know, to really think about how wonderful it can be when we're able to put what our children need first. Even though sometimes it's difficult, you've got to do it for your babies, you guys. You have to, especially when it comes to significant others. That's a huge, huge thing. And I don't take it lightly, and I don't think it should be taken lightly. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode today. If you want to get in touch with me on social media, please reach out, follow me. Let's chit chat. I'm thinking of some more exciting episodes to do on here. I have so many good ones still. And I've been getting really great feedback from you guys. So please keep sending it my way so I know what you're enjoying, what you like, what you want more of, etc. But until next time, I will catch you guys in the next episode.